I never imagined I'd be standing here, pouring out my soul like this. I built my fortune faster than anyone thought possible. Private jets, golden business cards, the works. But none of it was really mine. Beat. It was all borrowed time, borrowed power. All of it. My name is Liam Ramsey. 10 years ago, I was nobody. Broke, desperate, drowning in debt after my startup imploded. I'd shut down my one-bedroom apartment, living on instant coffee and cold pizza. Every night I stared at my bank account, each refresh hitting me with the reality of zeros. My inbox had nothing but rejection emails. Investors thought I was a joke. I felt as doomed as a man in quicksand, sinking deeper. Then came the email. No sender name, no header, no logo, just a message. We can help you achieve everything you desire, if you're willing to pay the price. My heart froze. I should have deleted it, maybe thrown my laptop out the window. But desperation is a stubborn thing. That night, I fell asleep dreaming of empty bank accounts and would-be regrets. They gave an address, a city I barely knew, Prague. A dark cobblestone alley that seemed to swallow headlights. The instructions were simple. Come alone. No explanation, just an appointment with destiny. 2 days later, I found myself sprinting through an old city centre in the pouring rain. I told myself this was a business retreat, a last resort pitch. The address was in an abandoned-looking district. Cracked sidewalks, a boarded-up bakery, a lone lamppost flickering. I knocked. The door swung open on its own. Inside was silent, almost sacred. Candlelight. Whilst in the centre of the chamber stood 3 figures draped in black robes, faces hidden. They seemed ancient. Calm, but with an intensity in their posture that set every nerve ending on edge. One stepped forward. He had a voice smooth as velvet. "Good evening," he said almost warmly. "Adrian Keller, we know of you." He said my name. My blood ran cold. I hadn't told anyone about my failures. I stammered something like, "How do you know?" But he just smiled. The man gestured me into a circle of pentacles etched on the flagstone floor. It reeked of burnt sage and something sour I couldn't place. These 3 made no introductions, no small talk. They knew every detail of my life. School grades, bank accounts, the name of my first dog. Creepy, right? Then one of them looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't lack intelligence, Adrian. You lack backing." That's when they made me the offer. Funds, connections, real backing to build an empire. In return, I would have to join them. At first, I thought it was metaphorical. Networking, career clubs, that sort of thing. But their eyes glinted like oil on water. I was thrilled and horrified all at once. They said if I agreed, they'd invest millions. Every door would open, every venture guaranteed profit. All I had to do was seal it. An old scroll lay before me, coated in wax. Written in an unrecognizable script, it felt like weighty silence itself. "Sign," they urged. I hesitated. I thought of my family back home, my pride, everything. Then desperation flooded in. With shaking hand, I signed, though it wasn't ink from a pen, but something warm and sticky, seeping into the paper as if alive. The moment I lifted my hand, I felt a jolt through my veins, as if something took root there. They nodded and closed the ceremony. "Welcome," one whispered. The others evaporated into the shadows. I walked out into the night, back to the rain-soaked streets. Only now the storm felt softer, as if the city itself was breathing with me. 3 months later. It happened just like they promised. When I woke up after a couple hours of rest, there were emails already waiting. Offers from banks, deals I never pitched. Every message was green-lit. By the end of the week, I sat in my new corner office overlooking the city skyline. Corporations begged to partner with me. Stock tickers favored my holdings. One night, I toasted champagne with new colleagues at a rooftop party, the city lights dancing below. The taste of success was intoxicating. I'd never slept so well. I felt unstoppable. Deals closed themselves, or so it seemed. Rivals would suddenly withdraw, citing unexpected issues. An investors building had a freak electrical fire the day before our merger, ironically handing me exclusive rights. I dismissed the coincidence. Imagine that, a client actually thanked me for saving her business from closing, and she'd never mentioned any fire. I chalked it up to luck. But as autumn came, something changed. Nights grew restless. I started seeing patterns, hearing whispers when alone. It was nothing I could point to, just a feeling. Sometimes when I closed a big deal, a faint whisper in my ear would say, "Remember us." I shook it off as imagination. Drinking helped. So did the expensive whiskey they kept providing at these late-night rendezvous. Then they called again. The same three. Only this time, on no ceremony. They simply called. One morning I found a single black envelope slipped under my door. "We must speak again. Midnight. Same place." The text was cold, final. By now I knew. They were not angels of Wall Street. They were something else. When I returned, the room was colder. Candles again, but this time an uneasy silence. The lead figure looked pleased. "Your successes have been pleasing," he said. "But you have grown. It is time for further commitment." One of them leaned forward. "There will be a required sacrifice." My throat went dry. They meant actual people. Friends I once snubbed, old rivals. They showed me evidence, ruined families, businesses quietly dismantled after my accidental phone calls. When I asked them to help, they did, mercilessly. I remembered executives having sudden heart attacks, a competitor's lake crash, a bank loan recall timed with our announcements. My heart sank. I had been used. I realized the wealth had never been free. Every deal, every life brought to ruin around me was the price I was paying. They'd been orchestrating my luck and now calling in debts. They looked at me expectantly. "Your next project," they demanded, "will seal our pact for good. Fail and you lose everything and more." All those empty promises felt like a death sentence. I froze. I found my voice weak at first. "No." I said it once, then louder. They stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "No," I repeated, eyes blazing with something I hadn't felt in years. Defiance. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then shock registered on each masked face. I had refused the final sacrifice. Their silence was almost worse than anger. I bolted, out of that temple and into the rain-soaked street again. By the time I reached the taxi, they had vanished. Their last words echoed in my mind. "As you refuse, so will we withdraw." The next weeks were hell. Markets flipped on me. Allies turned away. My phones were disconnected. News outlets sniffed scandal. Suddenly I faced investigations and lawsuits out of nowhere. Tax audits, whistleblowers. It was endless. It's amazing how quickly stacked chairs come apart when the jackals smell blood. In a month, I lost it all. Companies, fortune, reputation. Every corner of my life collapsed. No doctors could explain the trembling fear nights now brought. Cold sweats, nightmares of that ritual circle, and those voices. They followed me in dreams, urging, accusing, beckoning. Was I imagining, or had something really marked me? One night, I felt a presence in my dark apartment, something watching from the corner. It smelled of sulfur and burnt leaves. I couldn't move for seconds. Just silence, heavy as concrete. I reached my breaking point. In desperation, I did something I hadn't done since childhood. I prayed. I didn't pray to gain anything. I just whispered, "Please, help me," out loud. At first, nothing happened, but I kept going, night after night, telling my guilt to whatever power might listen. I admitted everything, the deals, the faces, the price I paid. Slowly, bit by bit, the fear waned. I started sleeping without nightmares. The constant feeling of eyes on me grew faint. I began to believe I wasn't completely damned, yet. It was time to pay a different price, one I could live with. I gave away what I had left. It wasn't much, but I opened a foundation to help those ruined by corruption. I tracked down people whose lives were shattered, families of that unfortunate competitor whose factory burned down. I donated funds, helped rebuild businesses, admitted my role. "I should have found you earlier," I told a widow whose husband's company had collapsed. "I'm so sorry." She didn't answer, just accepted the check. Tears in her eyes. I felt something stir inside me that wasn't fear. Every morning, I filled my days with these acts, emptying myself so I could feel a little free. I spoke at community centers about the dangers of quick success, the human cost of greed. I told the story to anyone who would listen, as if spilling my soul could cleanse it. It didn't happen overnight, but peace began to settle. Now, I'm no millionaire. I live simply, and I'm glad for it. Sure, I'm still haunted sometimes. Some nights I still wake up thinking I see those 3 robed faces in the shadows. But their grip has loosened. At least my hands are clean. What I learned is this. Not every opportunity is worth taking. Not every door should be opened. If an offer sounds too good to be true, maybe the price is your own soul. I try to help others who find themselves at crossroads. I warn them, shortcuts carry a cost. Look at my story. This is my confession. I did what I had to do to survive. And now I am doing what I have to do to be forgiven. It's not easy, but it's possible. Because I got out of the deal alive. If you're desperate, broken, remember my story. You don't know who or what might be standing behind that offer.